Oh boy. My name is Cherry and I write Angst. This is a new PODFIC series, that I have not finished yet, that I am recording to get back into the swing of things, which I will discuss later after the video, hopefully. Today's fic is called World of Heroics, We're Leagues Apart, written by me, Cherry Writes Angst. Summary. Oboro Shirakumo hesitated, hand hovering over the handle to Class 1A's homeroom door. Just one pull. He hadn't taught first years before, but that wasn't why he was worried. The hero was afraid of the memories that had resurfaced deep in his mind. A veil of smoke stung behind his eyes that he'd rapidly tried to ignore. Pushing the door open and stepping inside, he was met with 20 eyes, and he breathed. Or the AU where Shirakumo didn't die during internships as a teenager and he became a teacher at UA, but Aizawa may or may not have died instead. Sorry. And as usual, I am not, nor do I claim to be associated with the creator of My Hero Academia, Kohei Hokushi? Sorry. This story is canon divergent and is written as my own interpretive work, and all characters and concepts belong to the original creator. And this story is set in an alternate timeline that is not claiming to be canon or is not directly canon at all, and is just, based on the universe, and there are trigger warnings in the description, as usual. Okay, now with all that out of the way, we get into Chapter 1, called Many a Nightmare. He knew he was a bit of a wild card, a loose cannon perhaps, an unpredictable wave or tornado inching towards the city before backing away at the last second. Oboro swallowed a sigh as he ignored his friend's worried gaze trained on him, again. It wasn't that he didn't appreciate Hisashi's concern, it was just tiring to be reminded of the fact that he wasn't in the position to be doing much of anything, let alone teaching first-year heroic students. He blinked numbly at the Chimera, who was still standing in front of him at his desk, patient as ever. "You're serious?" Vlad King asked from across the room, indignant. Oboro didn't know him well, but well enough to know his likes and dislikes and how not to piss him off most days. But apparently the other hero knew enough about him to come to his defense. Or tried to, at least. "Nezu, sir, Shirakumo has been with the third years for as long as he's been here. Not to mention, he's much more experienced with middle schoolers," Nemori pitched in softly. The principal nodded in understanding, but held strong. "I believe this particular group is something special, and who better to train the next generation than Shirakumo-kun, Everyone went silent, either staring between Nezu and the man in question, or trying to ignore them entirely. Oboro bowed his head in defeat and nodded to the floor. He could almost hear Nezu's grin. "Now, Shirakumo-kun and Yamada-san, you both may be dismissed. I have a few other things to attend to with each of you, if you'll come with me." He looked up at Snipe and 13, who were chatting quietly, and the gunslinger nodded. Hisashi took hold of Oboro's jacket sleeve and gently tugged him up and towards the door, exiting the teacher's lounge once again. Hisashi didn't try to talk to him, which he was thankful for. They walked in silence with his warm hand glued firmly to his shoulder, sliding down to squeeze his hand reassuringly. The two were close in a lot of ways, though they rarely shared physical intimacy beyond side hugs and playful punches, though not anymore. But the genuine fondness he felt in that short exchange was enough to reassure the Cloudmaker that his trust in his friend was well placed. Oboro felt his lips quirk up the tiniest bit as he attempted a grin, and his friend smiled just that much stronger for him. The opening ceremony was always a bore, but the blue-haired man couldn't stop bouncing his knees excitedly as he scanned the crowd of overshadowed students to find his cluster. He hadn't gotten to meet them during the first part of homeroom, as he had to finalize some things he'd left half done over the weekend. Vlad King looked less than pleased when he had to remind Oboro to finish his shit, i.e. paperwork, which made him laugh. Hisashi had finished giving the opening statement, stepping away from the podium to give Nezu the mic for the formal introductions. His blonde friend slouched into the seat next to him, catching a few students off guard as he whispered, groaned, and leaned dramatically onto the other's shoulder. Oboro smiled and shrugged him off, earning a squawk in surprise. "So, you found 1A yet?" the voice hero asked excitedly, scanning the crowd just as the other had done. Oboro shook his head slightly, pausing at the posted middle plate with their class name on it. Not all the seats were empty, but the row was certainly lacking a few bodies. Hopefully some of the kids hadn't got lost or held up somewhere. Homeroom goes on until lunch today, right? I'm still figuring out if I should do that assessment with them or not. His friend lolled his head to the side, exasperated. Bro, you cannot be serious. I'm just throwing it out there. Oboro raised his hands defensively, shrugging. I don't know what to do with first years, man. You know this. He was used to diving headfirst into quirk training with his third years, considering that's all he's done for the last 2 years or so, and even dealing with middle schoolers was easier than this. He just had to tell them cool stories about his hero work and tried to keep them entertained, and he was set. This was a whole new territory that he had no idea what to do with, and it was honestly terrifying. Hisashi tapped his chin thoughtfully, obviously biting back a smirk. You know, you could just talk to them. Oboro shivered, knowing all too well how well received most of his ramblings were by previous classes. At least his history lectures were always somewhat interesting, but the younger crowds usually weren't too happy. Usually. He could sort of understand why, but at the same time, he really didn't. Kids were weird, man. It would be good to know where they're at. Don't want to get off on the wrong foot and mess up the training, he mumbled, missing the small look of sadness flashing behind the tinted orange shades on his friend's nose. Hisashi sighed, conceding, as he tried to stretch his long legs without accidentally nudging one of the kids. Powerloader rose to introduce himself and the support course of UA, and a huge explosion and maniacal giggling interrupted him. The look on his face as he stared out into the crowd, settling on one particular spot, made Oboro wheeze. It seems Majima's found his new headache. A few chuckles rose from the crowd, and Nezu covered his face with a paw to poorly hide his own toothy grin. Majima just inhaled it deeply and continued, directing a message to the hero students and anyone else interested in getting equipment built. He bowed and fell back into his seat, getting a sympathetic look from Numuri as she clapped. The principal hopped up again, giving everyone a damn good shock when he went to introduce the heroics teachers for this year. You first years may have the pleasure of having Loudcloud as your homeroom teacher this year, for the first time in his career. Be nice, he joked, and Oboro hid his burning face behind his hands. He and our very own Vlad King, or Mr. Khan, will be your go-to for any questions or concerns regarding the hero course, along with our newest addition to our staff. Please, if you could, give a warm welcome to... Nezu pat the podium as the crowd followed suit, playing a loud and jittery drum roll before they broke out into screams of delight as the number one hero burst on stage. I am here! All Might shouted. Iconic smile slapped on his face like a medal of honor, and Oboro couldn't help but cheer. Hisashi let an excited, yeah! Beside him, and he smiled wider. The hero beamed at the roaring crowd, bowing slightly to reach the podium properly. Thank you for your support! I cannot wait to see you all become excellent heroes and go plus ultra! He shot a huge thumbs up to the kids, and another wave of cheers broke out as he exited the stage. What a way to go! Oboro murmured, playfully ribbing his friend as he adjusted the settings on his directional speaker. For sure, he chirped distractedly. Wonder how much of a nightmare he'll be when he turns your class into mini-mites. The Cloudmaker bit back a scream. Whether in terror or delight, he couldn't be certain, but that notion would make itself known soon. They were dismissed from the assembly and asked to file out, and Oboro barely registered Hisashi's hand staring him out the door as he lost himself in thought. Now or fucking never, he swallowed. Now, that's the end of chapter 1, first of all. So, I just want to say, of course, this is a bit, short. I haven't written a lot in the last few months. I haven't posted anything in the last few months, as a lot of you will probably, have noticed. I haven't, not that I haven't been able to write in the last few months, but a lot has been going on, and I sort of lost motivation to do it halfway through, and then when I got the motivation back to keep going, I sort of trailed off and sort of found that I didn't really have the time, or I didn't really know how to continue, or how to start again, basically. So now I'm sort of starting back up the channel, trying to do a bit of a rebrand so that I can incorporate both PODFICs and other creative works that I've been experimenting with, so that I can sort of diversify my channel a little bit. Because right now I'm working on a whole different project, which I wanted to sort of share the progress on YouTube a little bit, to sort of see if I can make a community on that, but I haven't really fully got into that little project yet. It's not ready to be shared yet, but yeah, it feels really good to get back into podficking. I'm just kind of upset because the stories that I have already had going on, like Waterlogged and Fish in a Birdcage that I've already posted, I've already recorded like, for example, chapter 5 of Waterlogged, I've already recorded and re-recorded and re-recorded over the span of about 3 months within each other, so I remember the story beats to the point where I just know the entire chapter and I don't want to reread it again or like re-record it again. But I hate the original recording, and I think I deleted it because it was shit, to be honest. The voice acting was not great and not my proudest work at all. But I really want to like get the story out there because it's something I'm really proud of, and it's something that I want to have like on my channel and just have out there as a completed work. Because again, like, it's something I really like, and Waterlogged especially has been my biggest ambition, my biggest project that I've sort of been quote unquote known for. Anytime I do collabs with people or whatever, they always, or at least my friend Orpha, they always tell everyone to check out Waterlogged because it's my biggest baby, and it's something I'm really proud of, which is adorable, and it's true. But I want to be able to finish it to prove like this is my magnum opus as of 10 months ago when I started recording and started posting and all that stuff. And speaking of, I really am sorry that I sort of disappeared for so long with no answers, and then I came back about 7 months ago saying, oh yeah, no, there are more episodes coming out, I'm posting more. I since then have not written a fucking thing, but I've had ideas. I know that Waterlogged is going to cap out at 20 chapters, and then is going to have an epilogue story after that, and then even like an alternate story after that. And I have a bunch of ideas for new works as well. It's not all going to be My Hero Academia, but like that was my biggest hyperfixation. So I'm still powering through those. I have a lot of Pokemon works in the Pokemon fics in the works right now, which I'm really excited for. And I have a bunch of other ones, like for Aviond, if anyone knows what that series is. From, I think it's Amaranth Games, I believe is the studio. I don't remember exactly. It's another hyperfixation of mine. It's a very good game. I also have some other works, like some original stories I'm trying to sort of workshop and try and make interesting and improve my writing so that writing and talking about OCs and stuff isn't convoluted and confusing and, you know, relying on you already know who these characters are, so I don't really need to explain who it is. Because obviously that's not how OCs work. I kind of need to explain who they are and the story and the world, and I'm not very good at that without a full-on base. But I am, hopefully, I'm working towards making that. I have like a huge, like D&D inspired work that I want to make, which encompasses like an entire universe I've been building for the last 2 years or so that I haven't completely written, but I'm still fleshing out characters and, you know, making their stories in that universe and stuff. Sort of like the whole, you know, like the D&D world is Faerun, I think, but also I'm not a huge D&D doer, so I don't really know. But yeah, anyways, not important. But yeah, so it feels really good to be back, to record again. I am currently, just as like a general update and stuff, I am sort of flip-flopping my way through TAFE right now. I'm sort of going through some medical issues. The other day I came back from surgery, which wasn't very fun, and I'm still sort of recovering from that. And I have other sort of things going on in real life that I need to take care of. But hopefully I will have the ability to continue posting again, and at the very least come up with a video once a week. Maybe, like, at least aiming for maybe twice a month. Hopefully I can get back into once a week, because I really miss this, and it's really good to have that catalogue, because I really miss doing this a lot. And yeah. So thank you for being patient if you've been waiting for me to come back. I don't expect you to have, but if you have, I'm sorry for taking so long. But hopefully I can do this again regularly. So, really lazy first video for the new year. It's February. We're way past the new year, but yeah. Thank you very much for listening, and hopefully we'll do another one of these soon. Bye bye.